I'm going to start with something today that's probably going to make some people mad. It may even piss you off, and I'm just going to say it the way I feel it. Your turnover problem at work is not an HR problem. I'm going to repeat. Your turnover problems in your organization is not an HR problem. It's a leadership problem. Now, before all of my HR people log off and think that they got it made, I want to break a couple of things down to you so you don't believe the hype around why people are leaving your organization. And it starts with the fundamental facts. Most organizations spend millions of dollars every year on the following things. They do employee engagement surveys to track what people think about the workplace. They spending money on stay interviews or time on stay interviews, like right before somebody quits or to make sure they don't quit. You're taking time away from work to do these interviews to make sure people stay. We spend millions on retention bonuses. And when I mean retention bonuses, I'm talking about, I know some organizations who pay out for some of their executive leaders $150,000 so that people won't leave. So we're spending money on retention bonuses. And not only that, we're spending lots of money on recruiting firms and search firms to scour the earth to find us the right person who's going to stay in this organization and be a high-performing contributor for a very long time. And then once we get them in the door, we say, oh, we got to keep them. So we invest a lot of money in wellness programs. We invest a lot of money in activities and pizza parties and all of these things. We invest so much in like new employee programming. Like literally, once we get somebody in the door, we know we got to keep them. See, I remember talking to a nursing executive at a large hospital system that told me the following, that when they hire a nurse, they can count that it's going to take about 3 years before they break even on all of the money that they spent to actually hire their nurse. But their turnover rate was they were losing 50% of them in year 2. So you're spending money to recruit somebody, to get them to work, get them trained up, you get them on the job, on the floor, taking care of patients. And then because of how the organization is, in 2 years, they're quitting, but you don't even break even on the hiring process until year 3. What sense does that make? So we spend lots of money on so many things to keep our people. And then when they leave, we love to blame HR. It's HR's fault. Well, HR needs to do a better job. They need to bring me better talent. Those resumes were crap. They literally get beat up on. HR gets beat up on all the time. I know it because I hear them cry to me after hours. I hear them say things to me that they can't say in the workplace around the organization. They're doing their best. And let's be clear, HR people are always going to do their best, and they're always going to do what leadership says because they're trying to protect the organization, not necessarily protect the employees. That's at least my opinion. So what am I saying to you? Your turnover problem, your lack of retention is not HR's problem. It's not their fault. Why? Because the employees in your organization don't experience the HR department on a daily basis, an hourly basis. They come in contact with them when they need them for something. But for your leaders, the people who supervise them and manage them, that lead the team meeting, the staff huddle, the staff meeting, they see them every day. Their leaders, they see every single day. And the biggest problem in most organizations is that when things are going south with their turnover or going south with their retention, whatever way you want to phrase it, you know what they do? They blame HR. They look for HR to do a quick fix. They look for HR to do something, throw a pizza party, do some more stay interviews. Let's send out another survey. Let's hire a whole new firm to do the survey. Now, I'm not saying any of those things are inherently bad and that you don't need data and insights to have good human capital decisions. You absolutely need those things. But to think that HR can fix the problem around turnover and retention but yet you don't invest money in developing the leaders in your organization is a fool's errand. And that's the problem that I see, is that we spend all of this money trying to save people and keep them on the boat, but yet we still got high turnover because we don't invest in leadership. We don't develop people as leaders. We don't teach the people who we put in supervisory roles how to manage things, how to lead things, how to develop people, how to do all of the things that are necessary to keep people on the team and loving where they work. Why don't we do this? We don't do it because we don't understand that what's fundamentally broken. So here's what I'm going to do for the rest of the time that we have, and I'm not going to be with you long today, but I really wanted to unpack this because I'm tired of people coming to me after an event and saying, Anton, we need to talk to you about our turnover problem. We're having trouble in this particular area. We're having trouble in this particular area. And then my first question is, how much are you spending a year per leader on that leader to be developed? And I get this deer in the headlights look because nobody has a clue about what they're spending to develop leaders, what they're spending for their leadership team to grow and get better. So I want to break down for you this. When an employee is in your organization, when they come to work in the morning, they are looking for a leader who does the following things. Number one, they want to make sure that leader knows how to listen to them. Number two, they want a leader who is going to develop them, help them to be better next year than they are this year. Number three, they want a leader that they can trust. And what do I mean trust? They want a leader that doesn't lie to them. And that's the problem in so many organizations, is that people don't have leaders that listen to them. They don't have leaders that develop them. They don't have leaders that they can trust. And they don't have leaders who know how to be honest, truthful, and transparent about what's going on in the workplace. It's a big problem, hugely big problem, that people don't have a leader that they can trust. So I want you to understand that this is all about leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. That's an unoriginal quote from me, but an original quote that I heard from John Maxwell. And I will tell you this, it's true. Every single thing rises and falls on leadership. I've never seen an organization outgrow the leaders that lead it. I'm going to repeat that. I've never seen an organization outgrow the leaders that lead it. That you can't get to number one in your industry without having a strong leadership culture. People who have emotional intelligence, people who are invested in the workforce, people who have vision, who are committed to the organization, and have a level of transparency, trust, and respect from the people that they lead. So my question for you, are you the kind of leader that listens? Are you the leader that develops your people? Are you a leader that people trust? Or do they think you're going to lie to them? Have you been lying to them? When they ask you direct questions about what's going on with the economy and whether y'all getting ready to have layoffs, do you tell them the truth? Or do you tell them, I don't have any information on that right now, knowing that just a month ago, your leadership team meeting was about, if we got to start laying people off, who we going to lay off? Sometimes you might have made this decision 6 months ago, but for whatever reason, you're holding it. You're not moving on it. You're not moving down the line. And you're not telling people about what's going on. So let me tell you how you can fix this. I don't want you to believe the hype around how you can solve the problem of turnover and retention. But I'm going to give you a way to think about it, a philosophy, a framework, and a system that if you do this of what I'm about to share with you, you will not only lower your turnover rate and increase your retention rate, you might even become the greatest organization that they've ever worked for. Why? Because you individually have become the greatest leader that they've ever worked for. Now, before I give you the framework, I'm going to give you 3 pain points, or the 3 ways that I see the problem. The first part of the problem, I call it the leaky bucket. Now, I want you to visualize a bucket with holes in the side or in the bottom of the bucket. And your job, or let me be clear, HR's job is to fill the bucket. So they literally are pouring water, as much water as they can, as fast as they can, into the bucket, but the bucket is still leaking. The bucket is messing up everything on the floor. The bucket is getting your clothes wet, your shoes wet. Everything is getting wet because the bucket is leaking. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you the holes in your leadership development program are the holes in the bucket, that you can pour as many people into your organization to help you to achieve your quarterly goals, your annual goals, your 10-year goals, 3-year goals. You can pour as many people inside of the bucket of that organization as possible. But without shoring up your leadership development training programs, your leadership development programs, you will always have a leaky bucket. That's the first thing. Now, here's the second thing that you will still have in your organization, is that you will have people who mentally quit long before they physically quit. I call this phenomenon the 8 stages of alienation. Now, before I walk you through the 8 stages of alienation, I want to talk to you like, it's a marriage. Like if somebody has been married 25 years and their spouse wakes up on Monday morning and say, I want a divorce, I don't understand why any other spouse would be surprised to hear that. I just don't know how they can be surprised, because people literally just don't wake up in the morning and say, I want a divorce. There's stuff that have been going on year after year after year after year after year that finally they can't take it no more. And to be honest with you, they mentally quit on the marriage long before they said divorce. Well, the same thing happens in the workplace, that people mentally quit long before they physically quit. And it's a phenomenon or a process that I call the 8 stages of alienation. See, the 8 stages of alienation start off with stress. There's always stress in the workplace, and stress doesn't necessarily make people quit, but stress makes people uncomfortable. And sometimes stress is bearable, but a lot of times long-term stress is never good for you. And if you stay stressed a long time, then stress moves to distrust. Then you're distrustful about the organization. Okay. Then you also have fear. You're fearful about, and is this the permanent state for me? How long is this going to go on? You start to get afraid. Then fear turns to anger. Anger turns to resentment. Resentment turns to isolation. Isolation turns to separation. And then separation turns to resignation. Now, when I say resignation, I'm not even talking about physically quitting. I'm talking about mentally quitting on the job. These are the people who know them when I say this, you're going to know who they are. The people who say, I got 6 more months till I retire. I got 3 more years where I can retire. I'm just going to keep my head down because I ain't trying to mess up my retirement. These are people who are not excited about work. They don't love what they do. They don't love who they work for. They don't love the environment, but they just holding on, doing the bare minimum till they reach retirement or their pension or to something. They're just not going to jeopardize all of the years that they put in. They just going to put their head down and suck it up and just hide in plain sight. I know lots of leaders that do this at every level. I know some executives who are doing it, who said, listen, I got 5 years until I reach my, investment stage. And once I reach that, I get a salary like this for life. So I'm going to just hold out. So what I'm saying to you is I'm saying there's like that marriage analogy. There's something broke a long time ago. And you know who broke it? A leader broke it. A leader created the environment of stress, of fear, of distrust, of anger, resentment, isolation, separation, and resignation. A leader created that environment. And so you have to fix that by making sure you have leaders who understand the 8 stages of alienation and how to get people off of it. That's the second problem. Now, here's the third problem. The third problem is, some people would call it the leaky roof problem. I'm going to call it the Titanic problem. Now, when I say the Titanic, I'm certain that you have probably seen the movie Titanic with Jack and Rose ending up on the raft in the middle of the ocean, and Rose threw that diamond away at the end of the movie. It still makes me mad. Still makes me mad. But I want to go back to the earlier parts of the movie when the arrogance of the captain on the ship about the strength and the power of the ship and the ability of the ship, the arrogance of leadership led them to running into the iceberg. Boom, you got a problem. Then the second thing, the arrogance of the leadership to try to keep that information inside and only tell the leaders and not tell the people what's going on. And then the third level of arrogance, which is the craziest level of arrogance in me, is to send leaders out there and tell them to keep playing music and act like nothing is going wrong. Just keep playing. Just keep doing what you're doing. When you know you hit an iceberg and the ship is sinking. So what am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that without a level of honesty and transparency about the problem and the people causing the problem, your employees see right through it. They know what's going on. They're just waiting for you to admit it. They're waiting for you to acknowledge it. But you never do. And that's the hype that so many people believe that we're doing it right. We got great culture. We got great people, but we got a high turnover rate. Don't believe the hype that it's an HR problem. It's a leadership problem. Truly a leadership problem. So now let me give you what you need to do. And I'm going to give you one other thing, a resource at the end of this. But here's what you need to do. I'm going to just go ahead and say it in the simplest way, shape or form. If you have a leadership culture that is not strong and you want to improve it, I want you to understand there's 3 things that you need to do if you want to create an environment where people don't leave and they want to stay. The first thing you need to do is you need to learn how to teach, or you not say learn how to teach. You need to teach your leaders, and I can actually help you to teach them. If you want me to come to your organization and deliver some level of a program, I can walk you through this in great detail and show you all of the ways on how to do it. And the first is you got to learn how to serve your people, serve your employees. And when I say serve your employees, I'm literally talking about your leader's responsibility more than anything else is to have a servant mindset and a servant mentality. That their job when they show up every day is to solve their people's problems so they can do their job. But you can't solve people's problems that you don't talk to and that they don't trust you and you don't trust them. So service is a prerequisite for any leader. Service means understanding what makes your people tick as an individual. You can't figure this out in a survey. You're not going to figure this out by just throwing out retention bonuses. You're going to figure this out by having one-on-one conversations with the people that you lead. So let me tell it to you this way. Every leader in your organization, no matter what role they play, they need to build into their schedule to do 3 30-minute one-on-one interviews every week, every year that they're at work. If you can't find 90 minutes to do 3 different meetings in a 5-day work week, that person does not deserve to be in a leadership role. They don't. Because they don't have time to do the job, which is to understand what's going on with their people. 3 30-minute one-on-ones. And in these one-on-ones, you will learn the information that you need to know in order to serve your people better. Service is the first thing that you need to do. The second thing you need to do is you need to empower your people. When I mean empower your people, I was talking to an executive not too long ago about the chain of approvals to do stuff inside their organization. Like to even put a date on a calendar to host an event requires you to go talk to 7 people and run it by 7 different people's calendar in order for you to be able to schedule a date. That's micromanagement. So what am I saying to you? That you cannot have a culture of micromanagement and solve your turnover problem. You have to have a culture of empowerment, which is people have the tools, the information, and the resources that they need to do their job well. The tools, the information, and the resources to do their job. And sometimes those resources might be more people. Sometimes those resources might be more technology. Sometimes those resources might be a better work environment. But the tools, the information, you got to give people what they need to succeed. Like, could you imagine being a football coach and sending your team out on the field to win a game, but you don't give them a helmet, shoulder pads, or cleats? Even if they're the fastest people, the strongest people, and they can catch and run like the lightning, if they don't have a helmet, shoulder pads, and cleats, they're not going to perform well on the field. Matter of fact, some of them won't even go on the field, no matter how talented they are. So you got to empower your people by giving them what they need to succeed. And here's the last one. The third thing that you need to do is that you need to know how to lead. Your people, your managers, every one of them needs to know how to lead. And what do I mean, know how to lead? Well, first of all, they need to know how to be transparent about the problems inside of the organization. Tell the truth all the time. Why? Because the truth doesn't hurt. It only heals. It's only when you start to be honest about the things that are not working and accept feedback and your accountability or how you did or did not contribute to them things not working is the only place you're going to start to earn trust and people feel like you're not lying to them. You got to learn how to be transparent, authentic and transparent, and then be accountable. Accept the responsibility, accept the fault when things are not right. And this is where I'm closing, is that you got to stop trying to blame HR for everything that's going wrong in your organization. It ain't their fault or their problem. It's your problem because you're the leader. You're the leadership team. You are the beginning and the end of the turnover problem. So don't believe the hype that it's HR's fault or it's something other than leadership. It's all about leadership. Now, if you need some help with your retention problem, you want some help, I want you to either type in the chat or send me a direct message with the word retention. And I will give you a resource that will help you and your team to become better leaders so that you can address the turnover problem. So I want to thank you all for watching today. My name is Anton Gunn. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next week for Leadership Live. Take care.